focusing here on the front end of a 2007 Dodge Ram 1500 SLT four-wheel drive with BigHorn package. But anyway, we finished the rear on the previous video. We're going to focus on getting the power stop brakes and some front strut assemblies installed today. So gather around and get your coffee or whatever it is. I know I've got mine. Thankfully another warm, beautiful day here. So let's go ahead and get this video started. We'll get the front end of the vehicle secured. We're going to jack it up. We're going to chock the rear. I got the brake on, and we'll get those on jack stands in the front. And we'll focus in on getting all this completed today. Okay folks, so I've got the vehicle jacked up, supported with a jack stand in this particular location. I'm working on one side right now. I may flip to the other. The first protocol is if you are just replacing the brakes and the rotor, you're going to want to just focus on that, but I'm going to add in how to replace this strut assembly. First order of business, of course, support your vehicle, chock the rear wheels, etc. Be safe, make sure it's secure. Don't go under this heavy vehicle if you do not have it secured. So we're going to move on. The manufacturer's recommendation says to support the lower control arm at the outer end, which I have done right there. And then we're going to, well, I went ahead and sprayed a little bit of penetrating oil on the 3 bolts nut there, also on the upper control arm there, the sway bar linkage right there, and the strut lower bolt nut combo there. Alright, we're going to start removing those. I have a 15mm that fits that pretty snug, so I'm going to break those loose as per the recommendation of the manufacturer's repair manual, and we'll move on from there. So we had to take quite a bit of a break here and make a quick discussion on these 2007 Dodge Rams. So the strut is actually pretty simple. You know, you've got your 3 nuts sitting on top, and those are 15mm, and they're actually quite easy to get to. Torquing them is not as easy unless you've got some good tools like a crow's foot that can attach to a torque wrench. I do not, at least I don't think so. We'll check that later. Anyway, the lower bolt on the strut, the fork down there on the bushing, it seizes. Those things seize, and it's a known problem. There is a solution for it, but you got to get it disconnected first. So what I've went ahead and done is disconnected my caliper 13mm bolts, remove the brakes, remove the caliper bracket. I believe those were 21mm. Remove those, set the bracket off to the side. Now I secured the caliper up to the frame, and I'm going to show you that here in a second, of the truck. Now as for the sway bar linkage, I disconnected that at the top. It's a 15mm. Disconnected that along with the tie rod end. Disconnected that. I believe that was a 21mm. And then on the top I disconnected the upper control arm. So the issue is you have a 24mm nut on a 21mm bolt with the bushing. Now I came across a seized section, so this is why I paused the video. This is what I'm working on. I had to order parts, so we're going to go through that process now. Let's go ahead and dig right in, and I'll show you that. All right, here we go. The vehicle's still secured. I have the caliper secured to the frame of the vehicle. I made sure that the brake line is not damaged. It's quite a heavy caliper. It's got 2 pistons there. Next, I removed the brake, rotor, secured my lug nuts back on, disconnected the ABS sensor here, put that to the side, And then, like I said, I disconnected the 3 on the top. Those are disconnected. As you can tell, the strut has been removed, and I'm going to show you how I had to do that. I've got my outer tie rod, which is fairly new, a couple years old, disconnected. The sway bar linkage in the back's been disconnected, and then the upper control arm. So the reason is I had to, and I'm currently working on removing the sleeve of the linkage. So here, I'll show you. You have a perfectly good strut right there with the fork attached. Look at the other one. I had to cut the fork in 2 locations because of this bolt was seized to that bushing. Could not come out. On this side over here, 15 minutes, I had every bolt, everything secured and out of the way, and the strut removed. It's very simple when things cooperate, but it took a turn for the worst. The condition of that is a lot better than the one I removed. So that's where we're at. Waiting on parts. As soon as those parts come in, we're going to use our trusty press here, our C-clamp style press, to push out, and hopefully that won't give us an issue, and then we'll push in the new bushings. Bushings I bought off of Parts Geek. I don't think I've ever used them. We're going to go ahead and get that done, and hopefully that'll be done here. The bushing sleeve I could not get to press out on the car with the C-clamp style press. What I did do was cut a portion of the sleeve down as far as I could, and then begin to push it in on itself. You can see where it seats inside the lower control arm, LCA, and you can see portions that were rusted. You can also see where it was exposed. This portion right here with the seating area, and then a little bit of exposure here. I tried to press it out, and it pretty much just said no with that C-clamp. I may not have had the correct diameter on the back side to push, but a simple 20-minute cut. Try to be extremely careful when you're cutting, because you can cut into the LCA, and you don't want to do that. Definitely don't want to do that. So now we're just waiting on parts. We'll clean that up. We'll put some good we'll leave the penetrating oil on there to protect the surface area from rust while the car is sitting on jack stands. We'll wait for the part. We'll put the part in the freezer, stiffen it up, and then we will press it in. It shouldn't take much to press in with a clamp like that. And if you had it off the vehicle and then you had a like a 20-ton press, probably snap right in, no big problem. So now I got to do the same thing to the other side, but I'm hoping that this C-style clamp will just take it right off. So we'll leave that there. That's just what I did. It took a little bit of time, but the bushing is already gone, but the sleeve of the bushing is no longer there, and once the part comes in, it'll be a lot easier to put it. All right.